everyone, welcome to the Sim Twins. I'm Brooke and this is Remodel The Sims. Today we are remodeling a house in Brindleton Bay. It is the Bedlington Lighthouse, I'm pretty sure is the name. But this house is actually the house that I placed the Lunar New Year family that Bree and I created. And you can see that on our channel. I'll put the link to that cast video in the description below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And so, first of all, what I wanted to do, since this is a remodel, I wanted to make sure that I knew what the layout of the house was. And the first thing I noticed that was weird with this house was that the stairs were really wide. They were too wide instead of one. So I just made them smaller so that I could have more room. And what I did was I took the upstairs, which was more of a loft space than anything, but it was a really big loft space, and I turned it into two separate rooms. And so the rooms that I created up here were the master bedroom and the teenage son's room. And I actually end up doing some expansion to the size of this house in terms of the upstairs because I really wanted to add a master ensuite. And so right now that's what we're doing. I'm just trying to figure out how big I want to make the master ensuite. It's not super big. It's a 2x3 bathroom, but I think that it's nice that the parents get to have their own bathroom. And as you can see here, I had to fix the roofing to make it look better, and I saved periodically when I was doing this. But I wanted the eaves not to kind of collide with each other, and so what I use is the trick. If you hold down Shift and then you pull things in, you pull them in from one side instead of doing both sides. And I thought it just looked better when they weren't overlapping like that. And so now you can see the kind of layout that I have for the bedrooms. I have the master suite with the ensuite bathroom, and then over on the other side will be the teenage boys' room. And so since this is for our Lunar New Year family, I did want to keep with kind of like a reddish theme. And so you'll see that a lot of their furniture is Asian influenced, but this bathroom is more of a Mediterranean influenced. I thought that this family would be pretty cultured. The father is a vet, the mother is a scientist, and so I thought that they would do quite a bit of traveling and that they would have gone to Dorada before. And so I made their bathroom Mediterranean style because I thought that they would really enjoy a Mediterranean style bathroom. And I made it very simple, but I added this nice tub that came with cats and dogs. And I also used this cats and dogs rug, and I just sized it down to make it fit in the room. And I had to turn on testing move objects because I had turned it off for some reason before, but I turned it back on. And so now I just decided that their room would be like pretty bland in terms of colors. So I just go with this nice navy blue, and I give them a bed that came with cats and dogs as well. And I use it in this nice red color swatch. And I also add two little end tables. And these end tables, what I like to do is I like to have two end tables, and then I put a lamp on one and a item that is different on the other side, so a clock or something like that, a picture. And I also added this overhang light, which I really like. It's a square one. I think it just is base game, but I think it's really cute, and it actually offers a lot of light. And then I just pop in a mirror over in the corner, and I use this rug that I use all the time. I use this rug downstairs as well, but I just sized it down to fit the room better, and I add a little ottoman. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in terms of adding other things to the room. So I add in a wardrobe, and I really liked this wardrobe from Island Living. I also like to clutter my houses to make them feel like they're lived in. So I added some little cards that maybe their children made, a little basket of stuff, and a tissue box. Everybody needs some tissues. The one thing that I really dislike is that basin, it's super beautiful it's from Dorada, but it didn't allow me to put clutter items on it, and I hate that. I wish that I would be able to put clutter items on that, and I know that you can get the little red cat CC item that will help you place things, but I have not downloaded any CC in this game yet, so that's why I don't have that. But maybe one day I will get the red shelf, and then I can put declutter items wherever I want, because it's kind of annoying that things don't always fit in places where I think they should fit. But here now I'm just like looking for some stuff to put on their walls. I really like to make people's houses very livable, especially if I know who's living there. And since this is my Lunar New Year family, I wanted to find some Asian influenced art. And I was trying to find the Asian scrolls because there was this wonderful video that Freezer Bunny did. It's his like Building New Crest series. I'll link that in the description below as well. But I really love it. And he was using these very nice scrolls for his Buddhist temple build. But I think that those scrolls came with Get Together, and I don't have Get Together, so I couldn't find them, and I was really upset. So instead, I add this like nice red cell picture because the mother is a scientist, so I thought that they would have something kind of sciencey on the wall. And now we're moving over to do the boys' room. The boy he wants to be popular, and so I really liked this university wallpaper. I thought that the kids would really get to choose what their rooms looked like, and he really likes blue. So I gave him that really nice wallpaper from Discover University and this nice cats and dog bed in just like a plain blue swatch. And then I just got Cool Kitchen and I really liked it. And I really liked that end table. It looked very, I guess, teenagery. I also used that in a different color swatch for the daughter's room. I also really like this clock that came with the bowling stuff pack. I use it a lot, and I thought that, he's a cool guy. He would really like to have like some maybe pop culture stuff on the wall. So I have a bunch of these like stickers from cats and dogs, and I also had that really cool clock. I thought that he'd be like a clock guy. And then I added this really fun ice cream poster, and I kind of put the clock on top of that, so it looks like that's part of the clock detail as well. And then over in this corner, I add a desk for him so he can do his homework, so he can play video games on his computer, whatever. But I really like all of the stuff that came with Discover University, especially when I am doing a teenager's room, because it just looks so youthful and something that real teenagers would have. So I really like using that. And then I wanted to add some other things to his desk as well. So I add a little, it kind of looks like a Funko. If you know what that is, it's just like a little figurine of characters. And then, of course, I added in, I wanted to add those books on that, but it was cropping through the computer. So I end up just choosing to add in a regular bookcase instead, because I think that even though he's really popular and stuff, he does still like to read and everything. So I gave him a place where he could read all of his books. And I also added in a rug. The rug also came with Discover University, and it has this bunch of different color swatches. I give him this really fun color swatch that has a lot of different colors, and I give him a little chair that he can sit on and be in his room, read his books, play video games with his friends, whatever. I just plop that in the corner so he has that. And I'm also going through and saving periodically because my game tends to crash when I do too much. And I also add a full-length mirror. All of the rooms have mirrors in them because in real life, a lot of people like to have mirrors in their rooms, not just in their bathrooms. It helps them, see what kind of outfits they're going to put on, of course. And then I just add some decorations to the walls and everything. And then, so the downstairs layout was really bad, I thought. Like, the kitchen is in this really awkward space that's kind of tiny for the fact that this downstairs is so big, and I just hated the layout. So I completely change up the layout. The first thing I do is I change where the door placement is for the bathroom, and I don't really do much stuff to the bathroom in terms of what is going in there. I keep all of the same appliances and everything in there. But I do change the wall color because it's very yellow, and I don't like that. So I give it just that nice tile again that came with Jungle Adventure, the similar tile to what I used upstairs in the master ensuite, but in a different colorway, with that gray and orange. And then I just add in some nice tile as well. So I just kind of like redid the bathroom a little bit like that. But other than that, I keep it pretty simple. And down here, this bedroom that I'm making is the girls' bedroom. I thought, this house is really big, but it only had that studio loft kind of feel, and I thought that was really weird. And since this is a family home, I wanted the two children to have their own bedrooms, of course, and the parents to have a nice ensuite. And so in the girls' room, I add this nice little wardrobe for her. I think it's super cute. It came with Parenthood, and it came in a lot of different color swatches. I put it in this red, and then I add this really cute little mirror above it. And I actually haven't ever used the mirror before that I picked for her, but it comes with Discovery University, and it has all these cute little stickers on it and everything. And I thought that's super adorable for her. She's a very creative girl. She wants to be an artistic prodigy, so I thought that it would be nice for her to have like a little place where it looks like she decorated her mirror and everything in her room. I also give her a little art table from the kids' stuff so she can do all of her arts and crafts. And I put that in her room, as well as this diary. I really like the diary with Parenthood. I love all of the interactions in Parenthood. It's one of my favorite packs that I've bought. And so I just give her that, and I plop it underneath her bed so, she can write on it and everything. I also make sure to give her a little light because children are very scared of the monsters living underneath their bed. So I try and put in those lights so that they're not scared at night and they don't wake up their parents. But I also give her a desk as well for her to do her homework. Since she is a kid, I do not give her her own computer. Instead, what she has up there is just her homework, and then I add some little decorations on the wall. I love all of the pet decals, but I also gave her some like just of the kid stuff decals. I thought that maybe, since she is a kid, maybe some of her stuff was left over from her toddler time, and then some of that is like she's growing up, she wants to be older, so she is adding some newer things to her walls to make her look like as she gets older, she's in elementary school now, she wants to be taken more seriously. And I really like these base game window curtains. I've never used them before, but they fit really well with the size of these windows. And I actually end up going upstairs and putting them in the windows upstairs as well because I forgot to add in curtains. But I just use those curtains again, and I actually just change the colors to match the rooms. And I really like those curtains. I think they're really nice. I think I might have forgot to add one to the master ensuite, actually. Add curtains to the master ensuite. But yeah, I just thought that this house was not very efficient in the use of space. Because it's a huge house, but the spacing is so weird. And I thought originally that I was going to kind of cut off the kitchen from the rest of the space and have an arch that would lead from the kitchen to the dining area, but I decide to nix that and instead just delete that wall altogether, except for that small part of it, because some of that wall is where I put the refrigerator. And so I want to keep the refrigerator kind of separated from the rest of the area. But I do open it up, and I also open up the area underneath the stairs. And you'll see that later. But now I just decide that for the kitchen area, it's going to be here. And I add in a different flooring so you know that it's the kitchen area. I really like how the kitchen area turned out. Like I said earlier, I just got the Cool Kitchen stuff pack. So I played around with that, and I actually made this kitchen like fully utilize most of the items that came with the Cool Kitchen stuff pack. And I know it's been out for a while, but it was on sale for 50% off today, so that's why I got it. And so they have the ice cream machine and all of the new things. And as you can see, I kind of jump around, but I decided to go outside and do the outside and redecorate the outside. The blue was fine, but I think that with the colors that they're using inside of the house, I wanted to go with a warmer tone. So I go with this brick and wood combo. And the thing about the brick and wood combo is that if you put it on the second floor, it just looks weird because you have brick, then the paneling, then brick again. So I had to find another paneling that didn't have the brick, but there wasn't one that that match the color that I had chosen for the bottom. So I instead just go with a lighter wood tone. So there's kind of like a two-tone thing going on in the house, which I think is really nice and really chic. And I don't change the window colors, but I think it matches pretty well because I use just like that brown tone, and green matches the brown tone pretty well. So I just made sure that all the house was nicely changed and covered. And then I start back in on this kitchen. And this is when I decide I'm definitely getting rid of that arch. I'm going to make this room a little bit nicer in terms of the layout, and what I do to kind of separate where I have the wall changing color with this terracotta style in the kitchen. I like to add in a pillar wherever the design ends. And here you can see me, I'm just looking at the new counters that come with the new counters and the new cabinets that come with the kitchen stuff. And I'm just placing where I want to put the refrigerator, and I place that cabinet above the refrigerator. Honestly, I'm pretty short, so having a cabinet above the refrigerator doesn't actually help me all that well. But I guess if you're a tall person, you have a step ladder, you can use that. But yeah, so as you can see here, I'm like, oh, that window's kind of in the way, and I don't want that to be clipping. So I kind of make the footprint of the kitchen a little bit smaller. But you see where the red of the kitchen ends and the brown of the rest of the house starts. I do add in a pillar to kind of mark that area differentiation, and it took me a while to find one that I actually really liked. I'm kind of picky with pillars. They have to have a certain style or else I don't really like them, but I think I like the ones that I went with in the end. I think it's just like a plain white column, and I also add columns to show like, oh, something is supporting these stairs, like. And then I try and add in the dog bowl and the dog bed here, and here I am just player testing to see if the dog will actually go and be able to sleep on there. And I didn't know actually that you can't tell the dog what to do. So I figure out how to do it in the end. You have to get someone in the family to call the dog to sit over there. And when I did that, like, the dog wasn't able to get to the bed, and I was really upset. So I go back into build mode, and I move where the thing is. I move the dog feeder, and I also move the dog bed again, and I try to get the girl to call the dog over, but it's not working again. And I try and move it one more time to like the stair area, but again the dog is saying that it can't. So I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know where I should put it. And then I'm like, wait a second, right beside the girl's door to her room, he can definitely use it if it's over there. And of course I player test it one last time to see if the dog can get into the little dog bed, and he can, and he's so cute. Pepe is a couch potato, and I just think it's so adorable that he has that. And so now we move back to the kitchen after I made sure that the dog stuff was player tested. I really liked the stove that came with Cool Kitchen. It's much more modern than the other stoves that come with the other packs. It looks like it's an electric stove rather than a gas stove, and that's very modern, I think. And so I really like that it is a gas stove. So here I am just like playing around with the cabinet, with the countertops. I wanted to add in that end piece, but because the end piece is that weird small piece, it wouldn't fit with the cabinets that I was trying to do. So I ended up just changing and using just a regular full-size cabinet, and I move over the stove, and I actually take out that window because it just feels weird to me that there's like this window above the stove. You usually do not have that. So I take it out, and then I plop in the sink, and I realize that the sink is not matching up with this window, and I'm very upset that it's not the same. And I realize that these windows are 2 across rather than 1 across, which means that it will never line up with a sink in your kitchen. So what I do is I just take those out and I find a new window, and it takes me a while to find a new window, but I like this one. It's really big and nice, and it fits because it actually goes right on top of the sink. And I wanted to use this range hood, but the range hood I thought was like super far away from the actual stove itself, and I couldn't lower it any more than it was. So I just go with a different one that's longer, and it looks like it reaches closer. And now I'm just adding in more cabinetry. And as you can see, the range hood is clipping through that cabinet, and I don't really like that. So in the end, I go through and delete that cabinet so you don't have to worry about that clipping through. And at first, I like that these cabinets are lighter toned, but it doesn't really match the fact that I go with these red countertops. So in the end, I turn the cabinets up top to a dark wood so they match better. But I add this really nice little island area, and I add these new bar stools that came with Cool Kitchen, and there's that new ice cream machine in red because their favorite color. Well, it's not their favorite color, but it's because they are my Lunar New Year family. I wanted to use the red throughout this build, and so I changed as you see, I changed those cabinets back to a darker color so they match better, and I changed the range hood color as well to match more. And then I plop in this nice light that came with the Cool Kitchen, and I try to put one over the sink, but it just doesn't. I don't know if I end up. Oh no, I do end up leaving that there. But I really liked those pendant lights. They're very nice and sleek. And then I also just go in and add some clutter items to the kitchen. That bread box there. I also add in some of the new Cool Kitchen stuff. Like I said, I use the cutting board. The cutting board is fantastic. I love this cutting board. It comes in so many different colorways, and it just looks really nice in your kitchen to have that cutting board. It looks really true to life. And then I also add in some just like kitchen utensils, and I really like to make sure that my houses feel very lived in, especially when it comes to the kitchen area. So I was really happy with how the kitchen turned out, and I love the island. And I feel like the house just opened up so much once I opened up these walls. And now I'm using this table that came with the update from last year for the Lunar New Year. Because this is the Lunar New Year family, I wanted to use some of those build items that I usually don't use. So I use this round table, and I really wished that there is a Lazy Susan in The Sims 4 because I thought that they would have a Lazy Susan. But I obliged and said, well, at least the table is round. But it would be really nice if The Sims could add in um, a table that had a Lazy Susan. And I was originally going to use that Chinese lantern, but I thought it was a little overkill. So I go with something that is lantern-like, but more subdued in its cultural significance, I guess you could say. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But now I move on to the living area, and I use the cabinets that you can use in the kitchen, and I use the big one in black, and I make like this little TV nook area, which I really like. I usually don't do this, but I thought that, this family, they have made their way in America after the parents immigrated, and now that the dad is a successful veterinarian and the mother is a scientist, they would renovate their home to make it really nice. I thought that, they had just maybe like moved houses, like they lived in a smaller place and then they moved to this place, even though this place is only on a 20 by 20 lot, so it's not super big, but the house footprint was actually pretty big. It's just that I didn't think that the house was using the footprint to the best of its abilities. So I think that what I did was like really nice. I also liked how that when I put that swan little thing on the table up there, as you saw, when I placed it down, it turned from the swans like being open to being together like two turtle doves. So that was interesting. And then here I pick these couches, and I picked these couches because I wanted to do a sectional. I know that they don't have actual functioning sectionals in The Sims. So here you can see I'm placing these together to make a faux sectional. But then I realized that it's not very in line with the actual TV on the wall, so I just move it so it's more in line. But because I did this sectional, I didn't really have a room for a coffee table, so I just end up saying, oh, they don't really need a coffee table because they have the area around the TV that they can use. And then, as you can see, I just plop in that really, really nice rug. I really like that rug. I use it a lot, and it has so many different color swatches that I think are great. And then in this corner, I decide to add the little study area. And since the dad is a vet, I actually add some really fun decoration to the walls. This vet poster. He is a dog lover. That is one of his traits. And so I used that poster of a vet with a dog. I thought it was super cute. And I also add in the a little dog statue. And then I also add in the year of the pig statue on the other side. I size it down a little bit, but it's super cute. It's a stone year of the pig statue. And then I also add in these little Discover University plants because I just love them so much. They're super cute. And then I also add in a bookcase because, you know, they are a very education focused families, so I thought that they would really focus on reading and science and all of that stuff. And I also add in a degree for them because I think that they would be very proud of having their PhD and they would proudly display their degrees on the wall. And I also add in a cute little dog poster over there that kind of shows like the anatomy of a dog. I also really like the family bulletin board from Parenthood and all the different interactions you can do with that. And also, since they are an Asian family, I do add in the shoe racks at the very front door because Asian families always take off their shoes when they come in the door. And so I needed to show that this is the place where that they put their shoes. And then I'm adding in the security and the area where you can change the temperature of the house. And I also add in a little hallway nook that looks like something where you like place your dog leashes and everything because, you know, they're gonna obviously have to go out and walk Pei. So I just add that to the wall. And I'm also adding in more lighting, so it's just brighter in the house. I add in those lightings that I use above the dining room table. And I just really think that they're really pretty and they match the feel of this house very well. And so the house is very simple in terms of what it has in it. Now I'm just adding a little bit more decorations to the house, like this fruit bowl. I was trying to figure out like where I could place this fruit bowl properly on these island counters, but then I was like, okay, fine, I'll just let it like snap to the island counter. I still think that they can use those when they need to eat at the island counter, but it's fine because the dining room table is like right there anyway. And then I also add in a little soap dispenser because you always need soap whenever you're in the kitchen. And I also add in some more utensils in the kitchen, and I go in and add appliances. They have a dishwasher, a tea machine because they probably really like to drink tea, and a microwave because that's very important. And I also remember to add in a bin. I add in the smart bin because if you have this bin and you play with it in The Sims 4, you know why I love it so much, because it just gives your Sims money every time they throw something away, which I wish in real life you would get money if you threw things away. But this is the build. If you like it, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm just going through and adding in some final touches, just some more clutter items. I add in these little clothes racks to all of the bedrooms to make it look like, you know, this is where their closets are, because I don't have the walk-in closet yet. That is something that I do not have. But yeah, this was just a really fun build to do. It didn't take really long. I'm now adding in some toys for Pei because, you know, they love their dog. So they got a little hamburger and a little tennis ball to play with him. And then I add in a little bit more decoration to this wall because I thought it was a little bland. But this house isn't actually that big. It's on a 20 by 20 lot, which I don't know if there are that many 20 by 20 lots in The Sims 4, but this one is in Brindleton Bay, obviously. So they don't actually have that large of a yard. I don't even think they really have a backyard at all because of the size of the lot. So there's nothing in the backyard, but they do have a little doggy door out front so Pei can come and go as he pleases out the front door. And you know, this house was really small, but it was super fun to do. I kind of like having houses that have smaller footprints because that means I can spend more time on the decorations and deciding on what color schemes I want to go with. I really like this house, and if you want to download it, our gallery ID is The Sim Twins 14. You can also search by the hashtag The Sim Twins or The Sim Twins Build. I'll put all that information in the description below. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.